Hamilton Studios.
Hamilton Studios.
Hamilton Studios.
Hamilton Studios.
Hamilton Studios.
My name is William Hamilton, and I'm the lead cinematographer and CEO of Hamilton Studios. Alrighty, so here's a little behind the scenes of our latest shoot. We're shooting a testimonial for our respective businesses today.
So I'm Gabriel Butel from Butel Media Group, and I'm also Gabriel Butel from Hamilton Studios, the director of photography.
So talk about a little bit, walk us through this lighting setup that we have going.
I'm just gonna sit here in this seat because that's where our subject is. So if we look at this light way up here, this is our key light. That's where most of the light comes from. And then we have these backlights here. These are more just practical lights. They don't provide a whole lot of actual light, but they do light up this back wall here, which is just big wooden doors. But basically what they're there for is just to look really cool, and it also helps to differentiate the background from the subject. So the lighting on me is a lot cooler than the lighting on the wall behind me. And if I move a little bit, you can see there's a light behind me as well. That's what we call either a hair light or a backlight, and that just allows me to be separated. So the edges around me have that light, and it just sort of separates me from the background even more. And then we also have this light way back here, and that's just the fill light, and that just makes the shadows on my face not as harsh. And then if we turn the key light off, then I look spooky. I look like I'm in a horror movie.
Hey everybody, I'm William, and I am the lead cinematographer and CEO of Hamilton Studios, and I am also the director of audio production of Butel Media Group. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our audio setup. So for our main microphone, we have obviously this boom microphone boomed up on this pole here, and this is a Rode NTG3. It's phantom powered. So what we have, I'll walk you over here. What we have is we have this microphone plugged all the way back over here by our director's seat, plugged into a Zoom H6. So we need to make sure that this Zoom is running phantom power because this is a condenser microphone. So it requires 48 volts of phantom power to produce a really good vocal sound. The benefit of these microphones, shotgun microphones, is that they are extremely noise canceling. They're long, they're very pointed. The sound that they get is mostly right here. It's gonna be right here. So how we have this put is that we don't really want this to be directly pointed at my microphone because your talent might move back and forth. So the idea of it here is to kind of put it maybe in this space right here to get the audio waves, the aural waves that are gonna come out. So that is our main source of audio. It's probably going to be our best source, the most true to life source. The second audio source that we have is actually this little lavalier microphone. Now this is a Zoom F2. It's a really great guy. It could record in 32-bit float. That's really why we like it, meaning you just record audio and it's always going to turn out. You're never going to not have good audio with 32-bit float because you can do, it's like raw recording of a video. So that's our two sources of audio. When you're filming interviews, testimonials, any sort of video, you almost always want to have two sources of audio because if one fails, then you have that backup. Our third source is just our scratch audio, and you can look back on the main microphone right there. It has just a Rode NTG on-camera microphone right there. Those things are great for scratch audio and just like vlogging and beautiful things. So that's our audio setup and that monitor setup, and yeah, that's what we're doing. We're filming testimonials today, and so hope you learned a little bit. So I'm gonna take it back to Gabe now, and he's gonna tell you about the angles that we use and how that is cinematic, why we're doing it, and the type of gear that we're using, okay? So back to Gabe.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with this main angle here. And so if we look, this first angle here is just shows waist up. It just shows their full body. It shows their expressions, and it's just a great way to introduce you to somebody. So if I'm talking with my hands, you can see all that. Now, if we go to our second angle here, it's very zoomed in. Basically, it's really tight on me, and so that just gets us close to that, and it's a great second angle. You wouldn't ever really want to use this unless you have multiple cameras. All right, so today we are using a Fuji XT4 as our main camera, and then we have a 33 millimeter f1.4 lens on the Fuji XT4. It just allows us to have a lot of depth of field. It allows us to use a lot of light, more so than most lenses, so that we can just pick up on that. That's why we also have an ND filter on there, because we have so much light that it just covers all of that. And then our second camera is a Fuji XT3, and the lens that we have on this is a 50-140 f2.8, and this lens is all the way zoomed in at 140 millimeters so that we can get that nice tight second shot. And so we have both of these cameras shooting in HLG, which is just a slightly flat color profile. It's not quite like F-Log, because F-Log just gets a little bit too flat. So HLG is kind of that nice sweet spot where you still get a little more dynamic range, but you still get to keep most of the colors. So that's what we're working with for cameras. And for this light here, that is a Godox VL150. It's a great budget option compared to, let's say, like the aperture lights. Low FOSS softbox dome here, and that just allows the light to be really soft, which is also another great budget option. But and then we have some newer LED light panels here. These ones are very cheap as well, and they work great for their price. I'm not sure what these are, but they're just some...
You can probably find these at just like a thrift shop somewhere, or you can maybe just Amazon, like just look up cool lights, cool retro lights, anything like that. It's not hard. What are you doing?
I can see myself.
Oh, nice.
But they look really nice, and that's why we have them. They're not actually providing a whole lot of light, but again, they look nice.
Okay, so diving right back into this zoom, the settings that we have on it. When you're recording audio, you never want the audio to peak above 0 decibels. So I like to keep it in -12. That's kind of perfect for me, and it gives you the ability to do most with it in post. Now we have these really nice Audio-Technica. They're not expensive, but they're amazing closed-backed audio monitoring headphones that get plugged into this to monitor our audio. And then you have really great audio set. Okay, so for our final part, let's talk about working with the talent or your client or your interviewee, your testimonial person. You want them to be natural. You want them to be confident and natural. All of the people that we're bringing in for this testimonial today, we have worked with in the past. We have a relationship built with these people already. Typically, when you're filming interviews, you might not always have that relationship built in with them. So what I would suggest is getting to know this person outside of having them in front of the camera. As soon as someone gets in front of the camera and they're not used to it, they are not going to be natural. What you need to do is you need to make them feel natural. And to do that, you have to get to know them and kind of be friendly with them. They need to feel like they have some sort of relationship with you. So when you bring your talent in, discuss with them, talk with them, tell them what you're doing. Even if they don't understand exactly what you're doing, they're going to appreciate it, and they're going to feel like they have more of that connection, that relationship with you. So now when they sit in front of the camera, they're talking to you instead of the camera. That's a big point that I have. Talk to your cameraman. Have them talk to you as the director. They're not talking to the camera. They're talking to you. Depending on your shooting style, you might have them look at you, or might have them look at camera, but still, have it feel, if they're looking right at the camera, be right behind the camera, talk to them, ask them the questions. The other point is you gotta plan and prepare your questions and how you want the interview to go. Certain people are gonna be better being interviewed than others, so you need to make sure you're prepared for the people that are not going to talk a lot. Do not ask yes or no questions. If you ask a yes or no question to somebody that is not talkative, you're not gonna get much of a response. You see, that is not really what we want for a testimonial. What you want to say is, if you're going to say, would you recommend us to other companies, and if so, why? So this elicits that, they have to respond to the why now. So they say, yes, I recommend Hamilton Studios and Butel Media Group. Why? Well, let's think about that. Because of their professional attitudes, the high quality videos they produce, and their overall demeanor, right? Another tip that I have, probably the final tip, is if you have the questions prepared, send them over to that client or that interviewee or talent beforehand so they can be prepared a little bit. You don't want them to come in blind. When they come in blind, if you ask the same question and they do not know, everybody's gonna say roughly the same answer. But if you give them more than 15 seconds to prepare, they're gonna have a unique answer that is important to their actual individual experience. That's my tips for working with a client. You also got to see how we have everything set up today. It's pretty cool. We're pretty excited. We'll show you some different clips. We really hope you enjoyed. And this has been Hamilton Studios and Butel Media Group. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
First name that came to mind was the Hamilton Studios. I had known Will for years. I'd also worked with him before, and between Hamilton Studios and Butel's Media Group, we knew that was the way to go.